PatCon. What is the end game?
Tell me what you said again. PatCon?
PatCon. Tell us what PatCon is.
PatCons get you?
Yeah, the PatCons get you.
Well, so the whole situation that we had with the Oklahoma City bombing,
Right.
Randy Weaver, it seemed like the whole infiltration of the quote unquote the right wing, but I mean how the FBI was so involved in that. I just would like to know, like, what is their end goal? Is it to make the white man look bad?
I'm not really sure what you're asking. When you talk about the FBI being infiltrating things, I don't think the FBI was at all infiltrated with Timothy McVeigh or Randy Weaver or anybody else. Certainly, in those times. So you saw a big sort of a uptick or resurgence almost in right-wing violence back in the early 90s, and it traces back to the end of to February 28th, 1993 was the end of the Waco siege, and was the beginning of the Waco siege, and April 19th was the end, and then 2 years later was Oklahoma City. So we had a lot of right-wing rage going on, and of course, the FBI, being the lead counterterrorism agency in the United States, had to get involved in that. So I don't know about infiltrating. I do know that there was a lot of investigation that went on. I know that a lot of people got locked up. I actually worked those cases back from like 97 to 99. And again, infiltrating, I'm not sure I understand the term or what you mean by that. If what you mean is, did the FBI put people in these organizations undercover? Did they infiltrate them with sources? Well, yeah, that's how you investigate crimes. That's how we gain inside knowledge into organizations, whether it's a drug trafficking organization or a domestic terrorism organization or a spy ring. The way that we gain information is either to recruit one of their people from inside the organization to talk to us, a so-called snitch, or to put our own undercover people inside that operation. And that's all, as long as it's done within the bounds of the law and of the Attorney General's guidelines. It's all very legitimate ways to go about fighting crime.
I guess if I could expand on it, like this recent situation we had with Gretchen Whitmer, it turns out that the majority of the people that were involved in the situation were agents. I would like to take it back to the Randy Weaver situation where he was caught modifying weapons and selling them to an agent. I mean, like, so how often is the majority of a targeted group feds or agents?
I would say that almost never it's the majority, and I actually would argue that the majority of the people involved in the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping or non-kidnapping or whatever it turned out to be. I know some of them got acquitted and some of them got convicted. I would argue with you about whether or not it was the majority of them or not. As far as Randy Weaver, you understand that was an ATF case. That was not an FBI case. The FBI was brought on for consequence management after they killed an ATF agent and a marshal. So the FBI was there for consequence management. Same thing with Waco. The ATF were the ones who had the case on the Branch Davidians, David Koresh. The ATF were the ones who made what actually turned out to be an ill-advised entry into the compound. The FBI was brought off to clean up the mess afterwards. With regard to Gretchen Whitmer, I think the biggest problem there, and if you're familiar with the case, again, we shoot ourselves in the foot. We got, if I'm not mistaken, the case agent was beating his wife, and goddamn, man, you cannot get past perception management like that, man. We if we're going to hold ourselves up to be, the pinnacle of law enforcement in the United States, and I do honestly believe that the FBI is that, then we can't have people sending text messages to their mistresses about keeping Donald Trump out of the White House or beating their wives or doing things like that. So again, another self-inflicted injury. But if I'm not mistaken, a court of law did find about half the defendants in the Whitmer case to be guilty.
I think it was, something along those lines.